So here is the brand new fragrance by Imaginaires. You might have seen my most recent video in which I covered another fragrance from this brand called Liquid Gold. Here is one called Ame du Coeur, and it translates to soul of the heart. This is a very passionate, romantic fragrance with black pepper, pink pepper, akigala wood, cedar wood, vetiver, palmer rose, which is a captive molecule by Givaudan. This is a very sort of spicy, resinous, and slightly fruity fragrance. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this smell in just a little while, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on Imaginaires' Ame du Coeur, which translates to soul of the heart, I'm going to tell you all about this fragrance, the smell, the notes, the performance, longevity comparisons, all that good stuff. But before I begin the review, I do want to mention that if you love smelling your best and you want to learn about brand new releases, both designer and niche, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and also please give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. I upload every single day, so make sure to check back tomorrow for a new episode. Here we have a fragrance that is delightfully spicy. There is a bit of citrus in the opening. There's mandarin, there's blood orange, there's ginger, so it's citrusy, it's effervescent, it's spicy. You also have palmer rose in the heart, which is a captive molecule manufactured by Givaudan, and I think it's a double unsaturated ketone, and it actually gives off an aroma that is similar to like raisins, plum, apple. So it has a bit of like a fruity personality, but there is vanillin in the base, which is a molecule that is found in vanilla, of course. There's also tonka beans, so it does capture a bit of a sweetness in there as well. You'll notice with this particular fragrance that it's very diverse and it goes down several different paths as far as the complexity of the aroma profile is concerned. So it's not just resinous, it's not just ambery, it's not just woodsy. There are several different variables that are contributing to this overall equation, and I think it's a beautiful, beautiful complex fragrance, but kind of sitting at the helm of it are the spices. So you are going to get a lot of black pepper, pink pepper. This fragrance is amazing. Nevertheless, I'm excited to give you my thoughts as far as the smell is concerned. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation first. So as I mentioned before, as soon as this fragrance opens up, yes, you are going to get a lot of spices. You have that pink pepper, which of course pink pepper can sometimes have a rosy smell, but you have the black pepper in here as well. So you have that duality or that combination of the two. And it's really interesting because when people think of a sweet, spicy fragrance, I always think of Spice Bomb by Viktor and Rolf. So the good news is that it smells quite different from that. Don't you worry. This fragrance opening up with that sort of a warm, effervescent vibe on account of that blood orange and the mandarin. It has a very interesting smell. You couple that with the spices and the ginger, so it has a little bit of that sprightly introduction, but the warmth that is very briefly created by the citrus dies out almost as quickly as it comes. So basically you're going to get that bright, tart, zingy introduction, but then the spiciness lingers as it transitions into the heart of the fragrance. Now, of course, in the heart, I mentioned there's a number of ingredients in there, but kind of sitting at the forefront of this composition is palmer rose, which is a captive molecule that is manufactured or synthesized by Givaudan. It does not exist in nature, it does not occur in nature, but it does have aromas or hints that are similar to raisin and plum and apple and various other fruits. And as you're smelling it, you are getting that sweet, fruity aroma. It's so bright and so luminous, and I love that about it. In the opening, you might initially get the impression that this is going to kind of settle down into something rather dark because the spices can be a little daunting, right? They're not too strong, so it's not going to be like an Imperial Crown by Thameen London. And there are a lot of fragrances on the market that have an overdose of pepper. Of course, there's Poivre Samarkand by Hermes, so it's not that overwhelming, makes you want to sneeze type of a pepper note. So don't think it's going to go in that direction. The Elemi resin, I've always said, is rather bright, and I love Elemi. I find it beautifully, beautifully done in fragrances like Beloved for Men by Amouage and even A Midsummer Dream by Roja Parfum. I love Elemi. It's one of my favorite resins. Yes, I also like the exotic quality of labdanum, and I love the mysteriousness of benzoin and even the green earthy touches of galbanum, but there's something about Elemi Ame resin where it's so versatile. And I can see exactly how it's working its magic in this fragrance. So in the dry down, vetiver, cedarwood, akigala wood. Again, it has a nice earthy texture, but it's really more about the top and the heart. That's really what's going to captivate you. And I love the beauty that is expressed in this fragrance. Let me tell you something, that combination of Ame resin, the sweet fruitiness, and the spices, they work. They work so beautifully. So I had the pleasure of attending an event at this restaurant in Manhattan called Catch Steak, and the owner of the brand was there, and they had custom engraving on the premises, and you might have seen it in the presentation segment of this video. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful event, and I sprayed it on that evening. I woke up the following morning after a shower, I was still able to smell it. This is a very sort of weighty, base heavy fragrance with endurance that captivates you from step A to step B to step C or Omega, whatever. Beautifully done. Please, please, please do yourself a favor. At the very least, get a sample of this one. It is so far the best release of 2024 in my opinion, and I tried a lot. I am absolutely in love with this fragrance. If there's one fragrance that you must try that I think would be fantastic even for the upcoming spring and summer seasons, please check this one out. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, so I have expressed or experienced this DNA in a few fragrances before, but I think the magic of this is the tonka bean, the vanilla, the pomerose, the ginger, the blood orange, the spices. Everything comes together and coalesces so beautifully. And at the end of the day, it is unique, and if I were to smell this in a lineup juxtaposed with other fragrances with a similar DNA, I would easily be able to pick up on which one this is. Longevity on this one, 10 plus hours. Projection, wonderful. For the first hour and a half of application, yes, it did radiate beyond an arm's length, and even when I was around others at the event, I was able to smell it on them even after having witnessed them spray on like 2 or 3 sprays. Even at beyond an arm's length, I was able to smell it on people. It's amazing in terms of the performance. Versatility, all seasons, I would say, all occasions, even though in my opinion, it leans a little bit more formal. Perfectly unisex. I think this one might appeal to somebody who's a little bit older, but again, if you love it, just wear it. These recommendations are really just to be interpreted and received very loosely, right? With a grain of salt. Presentation on this one is gorgeous. I've always loved the presentation of this brand's fragrances. My final verdict on this fragrance is, if you're looking for something unique, novel, original, a showstopper, something with complexity, something with character, attitude, and a really interesting personality, please check out Ame du Coeur by Liquid Imaginaires. So far, it's the best release of 2024. That could change. It's only April, and I hope it does change. I want to discover some amazing fragrances this year, but please, please, please set this high up on your priority list. I have a feeling you're not going to regret it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, and if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. Thanks again so much for joining me today. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.